Author Nien Cheng, using the pen name Yao Nian Yuan, chronicled her harrowing experiences under the communist regime in China in her autobiography, Life and Death in Shanghai. After initially escaping to Canada and then to the United States, Cheng published her memoir, which not only portrays her own indomitable spirit in enduring abuse, torture, 6 years of solitary confinement, and various other unimaginable circumstances, but also provides a broader perspective on the power struggles within the Communist Party that led to the devastating consequences of the Cultural Revolution. Released in 1987, Life and Death in Shanghai offers an unwavering account of a time when the fervor of revolution sought to obliterate the rich heritage and history of one of the world's great civilizations. Chairman Mao, concerned about losing his prominent position in the Communist Party of China following the economic failure of the Great Leap Forward, authorized his wife and 3 other influential officials, collectively known as the Gang of Four, to initiate the Cultural Revolution. This radical campaign aimed to eradicate any remnants of Western influence, the past, education, and even the slightest inclination towards free thought. Empowered by Mao's endorsement, gangs of teenage zealots, known as the Red Guards, were unleashed to dismantle everything and apprehend anyone perceived as counter-revolutionary during the Cultural Revolution. With unrestrained authority, the Red Guards engaged in humiliation, violence, terrorization, imprisonment, and even murder. In 1966, Nien Cheng became a target of their wrath. As a privileged widow whose late husband had served under the government of Chiang Kai-shek, the ruling regime prior to the Communists, Cheng, who had received education in London and worked for the multinational company Shell Oil, found herself in the crosshairs of the Red Guards. In the midst of the Cultural Revolution's tumultuous upheaval, even previously sanctioned jobs became fair game, as described by Nien Cheng. When the Red Guards stormed her Beijing residence, they took sadistic pleasure in destroying her cherished collections of antique porcelain and jade. The extensive list of treasures lost serves as a testament to the author's high standing before her downfall. The image of thugs attacking a defenseless woman in her 50s is truly shocking. Without delay, Cheng was incarcerated, falsely accused of being an imperialist spy due to her employment with Shell. Maintaining her unwavering sense of self, she adamantly refused to admit any wrongdoing or provide her accusers with the satisfaction of a false confession. In response, she endured periodic torture and endured 6 years of solitary confinement. The conditions of her imprisonment were unimaginably harsh, subjecting her to physical deprivation, psychological deterioration, and constant anxiety over the fate of her daughter Mei Ping, who aspired to be an actress. Despite the Chinese government's relentless attempts, they could not break Cheng's spirit. In 1973, she was released from prison on the pretext that her allegedly incorrect imperialist mindset had been rectified. However, Cheng's concerns for her daughter proved tragically justified. Mei Ping, who had refused to denounce her mother as a spy, was brutally beaten to death, a crime disguised as suicide, although the circumstances clearly rendered such a claim implausible. Seeking solace, Cheng settled into a modest 2-room apartment, yearning for a quiet existence. Yet, she remained under constant surveillance, monitored by government officials, downstairs neighbors, and even certain family members. Cheng lucidly reveals the corrosive effects of living under an authoritarian regime that seeks to control the thoughts of its citizens. Trust disintegrates, everyone adopts a facade, and maintaining relationships becomes arduous. Eventually, in 1980, when the political climate in China had somewhat stabilized, Cheng obtained a visa to visit her family in the United States. Seizing the opportunity, she applied for asylum and never returned to her homeland. Poignantly, Cheng highlights the disparities between her new life in Washington, D.C., and her former existence in Beijing, admonishing those in the West who take their freedoms and opportunities for granted. In recounting her autobiography, Cheng candidly reveals that revisiting the traumas of her persecution, torture, and imprisonment was an intensely re-traumatizing experience. Consequently, she could only write the book in brief intervals. Despite this challenge, her autobiography received widespread acclaim upon its publication. Through her spare, journalistic prose, Cheng's narrative gains even greater potency, eschewing an overabundance of emotion. Instead, it reads like a memoir of battle. Christopher Lehman Haupt, writing for the New York Times, described the book as far from depressing and almost exhilarating. Echoing this sentiment, Stanley Carno, in the Washington Post, praised the work for its exaltation of the triumph of the human spirit over mindless inhumanity. As such, Cheng's account deserves recognition alongside the most powerful prison diaries of our time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.